You'll be pleased to know that, and I'm sure you've been on the Spectator website today, as I know you always do. Ross Fitzgerald has got a brilliant article there about Josh Frydenberg, the man who would be king. And Ross Fitzgerald writes that, he's basically saying we're gonna have a Prime Minister, Josh Frydenberg, or certainly a Liberal Party leader, Josh Frydenberg, and he goes through the reasons why. I was fascinated that Josh is already the longest-serving Liberal Party treasurer after Costello, Holt, Howard and, William McMahon. What's your thoughts? And, obviously the two contenders are Josh Frydenberg and Peter Dutton. Obviously Scott Morrison will be around for a while, but what did you make of Ross's article there?
Well, a fabulous article, by the way, by Ross Fitzgerald, and it shows you why people should, if you're interested in politics, buy the Spectator and read it. It was a very, very good article by Fitzgerald, very considered. He's gone through each one of Josh Frydenberg's policy decisions in relation to the budget, in relation to the corporations law, superannuation. It's a very detailed, clever, serious analysis of Josh's career so far, that is to say, since being treasurer. But Rowan, that politics was that easy. So, the mantra goes that Scott wins this election, he retires sometime between now and the election in 2025, and Josh takes over as Prime Minister and, all is right with the world. Politics doesn't work that way, as we've seen from previous attempts to change the leadership of political parties from, Prime Ministers to treasurers. It just doesn't work that way. So there's plenty of events which could interrupt the natural train of events, and one, of course, is going to take place in April or May next year, where Albanese still has to be favoured. But would Josh Frydenberg be a great Prime Minister? Yeah, I think he'd be an outstanding Prime Minister. That's not to say many of us in the Liberal Party don't love and admire Peter Dutton. We do. I mean, he's been a stunning minister, a man of enormous strength and integrity, and what a cracker of a job he's done in defence, cleaning up that.
Oh, absolutely, no question. But you mentioned Michael.
The mess left behind by Malcolm.
Well, exactly. Michael, you mentioned the forthcoming elections. Obviously, I'll ask you about that. You heard my views. I think it was a mistake for the Liberal Party to abandon their 26 to 28% Paris Agreement and go the full 100% net zero. That's a discussion maybe for another day, but I think it makes it very hard, as Andrew Clennell pointed out, for the Liberals to mount an attack on Labor's climate policies, which proved so effective in the last election. Now, you've been around this game for much longer than me, so I'd love your thoughts on
it. You're a young man. Well, mate, the election won't be fought on that issue. And if it is fought on that issue, the coalition is not going to win. You have to fight elections, you have to win elections on your own turf, your own brand equity. The Liberal Party's brand equity is not Medicare, which is why we did so badly in 2016. It's tax, the economy, jobs, and basically building a stronger economy for the country. Now, the biggest issue which will confront this country in the next couple of years is not any of these other issues, but the increasing rate of interest rates in a global environment where interest rates are going to be increasing. There's nothing we can do about it here. They are going to be increasing. It'll put massive pressure on household budgets because all the mortgage rates are going to go up 2 or 3%, if not more. Doubles people's interest rates. That's all coming out of after-tax money. If the government fights the election on who is best for controlling interest rates in this country, that is the Scott Morrison, Josh Frydenberg path to victory, not on whether 28, 48, 38, 43 is the right number. That's a debate which is too complicated. And if you are a climate change fanatic, well, you'll vote for Albanese. If you're voting on that issue, you vote for the more extreme party, and that's Albanese. If you're worried about interest rates and the state of the economy, you'll vote for Josh Frydenberg and Scott, and that's their path to victory.
Do you think, Michael? That enough?
None too good.
I mean, that strategy worked. We all went through Paul Keating's 17% interest rates or whatever it was. But do you think it's 19. Been so long? 19, exactly. It's been so long. Well, there's two things I'd ask about interest rates. One would be you have to apply the same logic to our debt now that we'll be paying off, which is in the billions. And so, there's that question mark. But there's also, do enough people really understand that it's been so long since with zero interest rates? Do people genuinely understand that threat? I mean, I guess we'll find out. But I want to, sorry, Michael, I want to ask you about something else, which is this recent thing of the Liberal Democrats. So the Liberals went basically passed legislation with Labor that allows that prevents the name the Liberal Democrats being used and prevents the name, the DLP being used. Is this a bit of an own goal? It seems to be a strange move to have done. What's your thoughts on it?
No, I don't think it is. I think it's a proper move. I mean, this had its origins in David Leyonhjelm's victory in the Senate in New South Wales a couple of elections ago, where he was number one. He was on the left-hand side of the ballot paper, and he got, I think it was 9% of the primary vote against the Lib Dems' normal vote of, a third or less than that. So that's where the argument arose. And I can tell you from the inside of the party, we've been aggrieved for a long time that it's brand confusion. You use that word, and Liberal Democrats, there are people who are confused, believe it or not. So we have taken a principled stand that Labor have, joined in with, which is, don't use the word Liberal if you're running for election and try and rip off our brand. I mean, there's plenty of other labels that people can use, but no, they shouldn't run. They shouldn't use the brand name of the Liberal Party, and it's a right decision of the party to have gone down that legislative track, quite frankly.